Good morning. Thanks for revisiting the electric bison on another fine Montana morning. I'm standing in front of what used to be called an officer's hutment. It's where at least 2 and probably 4 officers of the 1st Special Service Force, officers from Canada and the United States who worked together during World War II to form the 1st Special Service Force, where they would stay when they were training here at Fort Harrison in Montana, which is home of the 1st Special Service Force and also home to all the Special Forces units, not just from the United States, but they come back here from all over the world. Anyhow, this hutment, I chose it this morning because it's the only structure I could find that is even close to what the Mexicans were living in down at El Fronton on Point Isabel, at the mouth of the Rio Grande on March 28, 1846, when U.S. forces went there and burned the town down. Now, I had said earlier in the last 2 episodes ago that the battle or the close call or the bluff or the reconnaissance by noise that happened at Arroyo, Colorado happened around March 29th. Well, I was wrong about that. It happened March 22nd. And then after the Mexicans skedaddled, when the American force came across that arroyo and got up past the chaparral, they camped for 2 days. They took a blow. And then General Taylor divided them into 2 parts. He sent General Worth with 3 regiments of infantry and the artillery directly down toward Matamoros and the Rio Grande, while he took General Twiggs' dragoons and headed 10 miles east to Point Isabel, which was on the Gulf of Mexico. And he took command of it, and they headed out. And then when they got close to Point Isabel, Taylor held the main body and sent ahead 2 companies of dragoons along with a company of Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers were pretty well known by that time of having conducted a very vicious border war with the Mexicans along that southern border. And they refused to wear uniforms. They were basically state volunteer forces, and they were pretty intimidating individuals, and they were associated with a lot of bad stuff, and which went both ways across the border between the Mexicans and the Texans ever since Texas had achieved its independence. Anyhow, there's some discussion about how the fire started at El Fronton. It was, I don't know, about a dozen not cottages, but shacks, basically. There was a church and there was a customs house, and they were all on fire, burning in the distance when General Taylor moved the main body toward El Fronton. And it's ironic, he told his men and his main body they weren't supposed to disturb anything. They're supposed to leave people in their peaceful pursuits, not intimidate anybody, just get in there and get a supply port set up. Well, that obviously hadn't happened, and of course, as with all things to do with war, the Texans claim that the Mexicans burned it down on their way back to Matamoros when they pulled out, and others think the Texans might have done it. I'll leave it to you to conclude for yourself. Anyhow, when they went into El Fronton and basically burned the entire place down, they set up Fort Polk, which was a 6-sided dirt fort, and they set up a supply operation. And then General Taylor pulled everybody together, and they headed up the Rio Grande to join General Worth and the rest of the American force that was headed toward the Rio Grande. And by the night of March 29th, all the forces together came within sight of the Rio Grande and across from Matamoros. But by that time, a lot of basically we did something in some way. We did something to the Mexicans, or they did it to themselves, which I really doubt. That looked and sounded and smelled like war, and so a number of officers were upset about it. I'm sure John Riley, was upset about it when he heard about it, because it would have reminded him of what happened in Ireland in 1798 during that rising, when the country was kind of put to flame. And Abraham Lincoln in Washington used that as an example during a speech about how we came into a peaceful country and burned the place down. And of course, the people that were left in El Fronton, they were petrified. They were trying to get away up the coast and down the coast. A lot of them were huddled in the central plaza, scared to death, but nobody got killed. Anyhow, in that manner, the U.S. Army of observation finally arrived at the Rio Grande River across from Matamoros.